A couple of reasons. One of it is definitely economic. I mean, in Turkey, 1 liter of diesel costs about $3 now. So you want to spend as little fuel as possible. So that's one reason. The other reason is that it's an extreme weather area. So I mean, it's kind of like let's say North Dakota maybe, with more unpredictable rain. So you have very short seasons, very short times for operations. That you don't really want to lose moisture coming out of the summer, and then you really want to go in really fast during the spring to put your corn in and stuff like that. And so that was the technical consideration behind it. And when you put those two together, it kind of made really a lot of sense to do that way. I mean, before, just to give an example, right now our plans is to have about 4 major tractors, about 3 John Deere's 8630s, and then 1 8620. And before us, the government was running there with about 120 tractors. Okay, so by going no-till, we're also basically making a much smaller operation in terms of manpower and manageability and whatnot. So those are the other considerations. Well, the biggest challenge is psychological, in the sense that I mean, we are probably the second company to go into no-till in Turkey, and as such, we had to convince our board to do it. So we had to spend a lot of time basically inviting people to criticize every aspect of no-till until we are sure that we can respond to every criticism, because it's a dangerous situation. Nobody would fire you for buying IBM, but if you went out and bought Apple for your company and then and it didn't work, then you would get fired. So that was actually the first challenge. The second challenge, interestingly, is to get equipment. So for example, it's almost impossible to get a 3-meter axle with a 10-feet axle with grain cart in Turkey or anywhere in Europe. I mean, we had to go to the axle manufacturers to do it for us, because if you want to do controlled traffic, you want to keep the same length and whatnot, and those kind of stuff is not available. And if you go to the supplier, for example, if you go to John Deere in Turkey, they say, well, it's just going to be one for you. We really don't want to do it. So we have to buy a lot of our stuff from Australia or from the States, and then that's a service problem and all kind of other things. So that was actually a very unexpected challenge. We assumed that once we decided to go no-till, and once we were willing to pay for the new equipment, that we would be surrounded by suppliers, and that wasn't the case.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But you think you'll get over that?
No, we are over it now. Now that we start bringing stuff over from the States, and we can, if necessary, we'll just fly in a technician. I mean, if worse comes to worse. Yeah. It's a lot of it's actually an old. It's interesting. It's beginning of the Mesopotamia, like the beginning of the Euphrates River. So it's incredibly rich, clay, deep soil that has been incredibly compacted and really bad drainage. And we took over the farm with one of the worst rains of the last 50 years. So right now it's very clay soil, and its infiltration rates are really bad. And then now we're working on it, and then no-till, as it turns out, would be actually a good benefit to that in a couple of years, hopefully. Basically, real-life no-tilling. I mean, so far we're in Turkey. There aren't too many other people doing no-tilling. We're still starting from a greenfield position, buying all new equipment. We don't have to adapt to anything. It's like a playground for us. I mean, it's a big playground, but it's a playground. And now we want to implement no-tilling in our other operations when there is a lot of existing infrastructure available, and then plots are smaller, and then solutions has to be improvised and whatnot. So my primary objective here is to get more real-life experience for more farmers, meet them, and then maybe later on go to their farms, invite them over and whatnot, and get that kind of exposure.
You wouldn't mind working with a couple of U.S. farmers?
Oh no, we would love to. We would love to have them over. We would love to send our people over. Definitely. Company is just a regular company, and then what we have is it's a part of a group of companies, and the group of companies start from, we have a seed company. We are the biggest private sector company that grows wheat seed in Turkey. And we also do a lot of the grain trade in Turkey. We are also the biggest millers in Turkey, and we are also the biggest bakers in Turkey. So it's kind of like a wheat company, starting from wheat seed going all the way to bakeries and big baking companies and retail bakeries. But when we say we, what we do is, in terms of this company, we rent some of the land. We don't buy land actually. And in some places, we just do sharecropping with local farmers. So we provide the inputs, we provide the agronomy, and we buy the outputs, but they actually do the work, sometimes with our instruments. So that's the other model that we use.